December 2025 recorded the largest snowfall for the month in the last 20 years. With that snow comes shoveling, ice, and sometimes injuries. Joining us with tips on preventing those injuries are physiotherapists Seth and Steven with Optimized Physiotherapy. Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, so a lot of people have been doing a lot of shoveling. I'm sure you've been seeing a lot of injuries or conditions coming in from that. What do we need to do to get ourselves primed before we actually head outside to do some shoveling?
The best piece of advice I would give is, 5 minutes before shoveling, it's good. You can start doing some warm-up stuff, but the real changes are going to happen, 5 weeks before, 5 months before. So trying to build up some strength, doing it in a graded way, a consistent way, that is the number one thing we want to be doing. But of course, in the minutes leading up to it, trying to bring that heart rate up a little bit. Maybe you do a set of stairs, maybe you start a little bit slower. You're maybe on the sidewalk before you hit the driveway. And then taking what you need, right? If something's feeling tight, stretching that out. We can always walk through some of that, consulting with your physio if you need to, and being specific to yourself, because everyone's different and everyone's body needs something different. Okay, so a little bit of training beforehand, maybe some stretching and some stairs more immediate to it, and start off light. What is the best technique for shoveling? Can you show us that?
Yeah, so similar to what Seth was saying, regardless of technique, your best prevention is going to come from putting in some work the weeks and months prior to actually shoveling. But I like to think about when actually shoveling to prevent injury. I want to focus on my core and my hips. Okay. So we're going to get into a good hinge position. Sometimes we see people really round their back. We want to think about almost sitting down into a chair, keeping that shovel nice and close to us. And then when we're at the point of actually lifting the snow, we're going to really keep this close to us and push with our hips rather than purely lifting with our back.
Okay, so that'll reduce some of the stress on the back.
Exactly.
Okay, and does it change if we've got light versus wet snow?
Yeah, so the wet snow is obviously going to be a lot heavier. So similar to what I said earlier, if we're dealing with some really, really wet and heavy snow, instead of lifting the snow this far away from our back, that's going to increase the strain. We're going to keep this nice and close to us and push with our hips and try to use those big hip muscles to lift it. Okay, so maybe even getting closer to the pile. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Let's move on from shoveling to walking on ice. Is there a good technique if we know our sidewalk or the road is a bit icy to tackle that?
I mean, avoiding it is the best idea.
For sure.
If you can't, though, trying to keep those strides pretty short, keeping the feet underneath you. Falls, honestly, they're the worst.
Right.
So just trying to stay out of any opportunity that could possibly happen. And then if you have, throw those spikes on the bottom of the shoes. Nothing wrong with that at all. And if it really comes down to it, staying close to things, protect the head, that is number one. We can deal with the rest of the body where we need to.
Is there, I know it's hard to do this and maybe think about it while it's happening, but is there a proper way to fall?
Again, avoiding is the best idea.
Yeah.
But if you do, if you got to use those arms to make sure that head doesn't hit the ice, protect that neck, it'd be the number one thing I could recommend. Wrist injuries, they're not fun, but we can rehab that. Okay. And head we can too, just it's a little more of a nuisance.
For sure. Are there very common injuries that you're seeing this time of year?
Yeah, so as mentioned before, definitely a lot of low back stuff from things like shoveling and falling. We also see a ton of motor vehicle accidents. We all know the roads haven't been the greatest this time of year. So we see quite a bit of that. And then also a little bit of elbow and wrist stuff, maybe some bicep stuff as well from shoveling. Okay,
and maybe if you've got just a minor ache or a pain or something that feels maybe muscular, at what point do you go in to get it checked out or to start getting work done?
I would say right away, just because the sooner you get on it, the easier it's going to be to deal with. If you leave it maybe for a couple days or a couple weeks and it just keeps getting worse, that's when we get to the point where it's going to take a little bit longer to get it better. For sure. Well, I want to thank you both so much for coming in this morning and giving us some tips, and hopefully people tackle the conditions and the shoveling a little bit better out there. And for more information, you can check out Optimized Physio online.